Hello, welcome to Model Train Fun. Today is about a dream of mine called the Tower. So I basically live in a hotel room and you can see I only got a small table here with my layout. You can see my kitchen is over there, my couch is here, so I don't have much room here in the hotel room. I basically have this small table. However, when I have this small table, I can't really drive long trains. You can see my Intercity over there. It's only got a locomotive and 3 trains. I would like to, or 3 passenger cars. I would like to add more passenger cars. My beer train is really long and so on. Plus, it kind of gets boring over time to just make a layout in one layer. I have used some Legos to make it more interesting, but I've actually been considering, should I try and make something a little more multi-level, maybe even a little more permanent? Like it can't be too permanent because I live in a hotel. So this is a crazy idea I've come up with called the Tower, where I actually make a tower of a layout on a very small area. I don't know whether or not this actually makes sense, but one can dream. Enjoy the video. So what is the layout I came up with? Well, first of all, the objective with it is actually to do experimentation. It's not necessarily to do a final layout or even a complete permanent layout. I live in a hotel room, so my choices are limited, and sooner or later I'll have to dismantle it anyway. So this is an experiment. I got a area of 200 centimeters times 120 centimeters, which is 6 by 6 times 3.9 feet. So that's not a lot actually for a HO layout, and maybe if one really wanted to make a nice layout, one should rather have considered N scale. However, HO is what I have, and this is the size of the area I have. So this is first time I'm ever gonna try and make a layout, which is also why it's an experiment. There's lots of things you need to experiment with when doing a layout, from wiring to building techniques to if trains cross in different layers or levels, I should say, how much height do they need and so on. So there's lots of things to play around with. But what I really would like is to have long trains, passenger trains and or freight trains as long as I can, of course given the limited size. I'm not really looking for building something according to a prototype, either specific era, specific landscape or anything like that. I really just want to do something where I can drive my trains or run my trains. So that's also why maybe I won't even make a landscape. Maybe it's just skeleton or bare bones or something like that, so I can experiment with the track. I want long tracks. It fits with long trains, but also such that it would actually be going somewhere and take a little while before it come back. I would like to put in some passenger stations. Actually, I'm one of those that actually like spaghetti layout. I know spaghetti layout is not necessarily very prototypical. Typically, you see trains going across long stretches, long straight, smooth curves, and so on. I actually like it when you have a layout where it kind of disappears into a tunnel and comes out somewhere else in an interesting fashion, not necessarily prototypical. And it must fit the small space I have here. I would like to make multiple levels of track as well, so we can get the long track squeezed into this small area. I'm not really looking to do anything extra like a yard, like industry, like round table, or anything like that. I really just want long track, trains, and a couple of stations. So what I've come up with, I've called the Tower. So I'm actually looking at making something that's multiple levels on top of each other. So that's why I came up with the name the Tower. The idea is at the bottom there's a main station. It's an end station with multiple tracks, and from that one you can go up to a layer above where there's just a station. In essence, this is just a station where you see something just going through the landscape, where the bottom one is kind of a big station. The other one is kind of more like a what should we say, a big station in a smaller city. And then you can carry on to the top level, which would be some hills, where there would also be a station. And this one would be an even smaller station at this level here. If you look at it, I actually made the track diagram for it. You can see the total height here comes to 170 centimeters or 5.6 feet, which quite honestly is quite a lot. I don't know if it makes sense to build anything this high. Maybe I'll just have a couple of these levels. Maybe I'll just start on one level and then have to move out of here and not stay at the hotel. Well, the future will tell. However, I did have planned some shadow stations. So the idea is, for example, there's a shadow station below the main station. So it is supposed to look like an end station, but in the back it will actually go down into a shadow station. That way you can also have very long trains on some of the platforms as well. And you can even have trains that you wouldn't normally turn around. So either push-pull trains or rail cars or that type of stuff. You could actually have a locomotive-driven train go into the station, go into the shadow station and come back up. In the layer with in the middle layer, there's also thoughts where I put thoughts in on having a shadow station in there that can dispatch either trains going up or down. If we look at the top level, it's kind of hills. So the idea is that the trains come from over here. So here on the right-hand side, on these two tracks, they come in to the, or these three tracks, I should say, they come into the station here. So there's a station area here. This is a station where there is a main building here towards the center, and then there's a platform on the other side. There's three tracks. Two of the tracks are next to a platform, and then one track for going through. So the idea here is it's more like a train station far out on the country. If there's some longer express trains or high-speed trains even, they will just pass through. They could use the middle track or go close on the platform and then pass through the station. So from the station here, you can go around in a loop and then come over the bridge here that bridges over a valley, and then come back down into the station. So this is actually the end here. So this is, remember, the top layout, and the idea is here that you can actually go up to the station and come around and back down again. There's a couple of extra features built in. There's a branch line that will end up here on top where there could be a station, and then there's a valley line down here where you could drive through the valley and basically go under the bridges. And this to me is more like a spaghetti layout. If I had to do it more prototypical, there would be a lot less track, more scenery and more landscape, but I'm trying to make a spaghetti layout here. If we look at the length of the platforms here, the longest is 185 centimeters or 6.1 feet, and the shortest is 167 centimeters and 5.5 feet. So still a sizable length for the platforms and the train station here. The middle station. So on the top level, the intention is that it's a left-hand drive. So think of this as it could be in Switzerland, for example. At the bottom level, it's right-hand drive. So this station would also shift from left to right-hand drive. And that's more just to make it interesting. So what do we have here? We got a station here. So if you come from the bottom, you would climb up, and then you actually have platforms here such that all three tracks actually will be next to a platform. So you could have three trains here, and then you can continue up. Now when you are spiraling up a mountain, The good thing is always to, on the outer radius, to go up. And why is that? Because then you will get less of an incline. So you see here the train station is made such that you come in here on a right-hand drive. You can go around, you can use the middle, or you can use the outer track here. And then you can actually end up here in a left-hand drive and then spiral up the mountain here. If we look at the length here, they go from 166 centimeters or 5.4 feet to 229 centimeters or 7.5 feet long tracks here at the station. The main station, so if we look up here in the corner, the trains would come spiraling down here and then come down over here at the back. So the back is over here, and here the trains would be able to actually go into the end station here. Oh, let me just remove this again. The idea here is that it might be hard to see, but the idea is to, if you look at it, it kind of looks like two halls here. So two big halls or passenger station halls covering the platform, but you see some of it goes over the edge here. So the idea is actually to build one hall here and then one that's only half, such that you can actually see from out here and see into the station here from the side. So the idea is to make it visible for the viewer, so you can look in from the side and you can actually kind of look in here and see where the train tracks disappear. And down here, the idea is that it's actually a right-hand driving. So over here, when you're leaving the station, you can go here, and then this line here, which you will see end up here, or it comes here, is actually the outer one here, is the climbing one again going up the incline. Here we have rather long tracks, a couple of rather long tracks on 285 centimeters or 9.4 feet, the longest. And that's really because it disappears into the end station here and into the shadow station below. So you can kind of use that descent there as the platform. And then some of the others are more normal length, where the shortest is only 113 centimeters or 3.7 feet. Now, will I ever be able to drive trains on 285 centimeters? I actually sincerely doubt it. The challenge here is that it's only 120 centimeters wide, so the spirals here, I cannot use that big curve, so it's basically radius 1 and radius 2 curves, which severely would limit the length of the trains. Maybe even 160 centimeters is long, I don't know. But to me, this is part of the experiment and why I'm trying to build this. So I want to try and build this so I can experiment a little with how do I make the spirals, how steep can I make the spirals, and so on. How do I make a descent into a shadow station? How do I arrange a shadow station? And if I actually finally get some track down on this and make it actually running, maybe some fun automation could also be interesting here, where you're looking at how you could have trains coming to and from this end station. Well, isn't that a crazy idea? Making a tower layout? And actually, standing here, I realize that it's actually 170 centimeters high, which is about my height. So this is going to be the top of the layout. So I'll definitely have to be on my tippy toes to see the station at the hill layer up here. And on the other hand, it's actually sitting on the floor. So the lowest station is only, this much above the floor. So it would be a huge monstrum to put in the middle of my hotel room. What do you guys think? Should I try? Should I not try? I don't know. Either way, it's a hotel room. I will never complete the setup. The maximum I could actually hope to achieve is to make what I would call a skeleton layout. So something where the tracks are, something more bare bone, where you can see the wood, not nice landscape, not nice buildings or anything like that. But at least maybe I could experiment with actually building something such that whenever I get enough room, I could build something bigger. If you look at it as well, you don't have to make all 3 layers at once. Maybe I could make the bottom layer and make a top to that, and maybe just a top where it goes in a loop. Maybe I could make the bottom layer and put it together with the top layer and not have the middle layer, right? But either way, however you twist and turn it, if this is the table space you got, there's gonna be a lot of going around and climbing for the trains. And that's definitely something that's gonna be a challenge. So maybe just trying to make the climbing for the trains, to experiment with that, could be worth it. Because almost everybody I've seen has a shadow station below the layout and some way of getting up and down to the main level. So it could be fun to experiment with just to do that. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And please do consider subscribing to the video. And enjoy your model trains. Enjoy.